Sharp French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time. I confirmed it. A whole society determined society.
What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Determined Society live at the Omni Performance Institute in Fort Myers, Florida. I have with me today a good friend, Aaron Jackson, an actor, a director, most known for his role as Mark Winkle in California Dreams. He is a motivational speaker. He is an educator of young adults. So happy that you're here today, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's just always good when I get to kick it with your handsome face and talk with you, man.
Thank
you know, so
it is my pleasure.
Thank you again for taking time out of work to come here and rap with me a little bit.
I actually got permission to be
You got
here.
permission.
I got permission.
I'm surprised. Good old Aaron, man. Good old Aaron. Yeah, you're not cutting school or anything.
Indirectly, yeah.
Indirectly, that's cool.
I thought I was gonna have to put in ADP time and make
go time
they gave it
off.
to me.
Yeah, the dark side. I call because I sold payroll for a very long time, and now I own a payroll company. ADP is like the dark side. You know, it's like Darth Vader of everything. But hey, oh well, right?
That's it.
But dude, for the audience that doesn't know, a whole lot about your story, why don't you catch them up real briefly about your background in Hollywood and kind of where you're at now?
Cool. Kind of had that dream, the California dream.
Yeah.
Growing up, I was born in Pittsburgh and graduated high school very young. Did a handful of pictures in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. I booked my first feature film when I was like 13. A small film called Lorenzo's Oil with Nick Nolte. Susan
That was a good
Sarandon.
one. You're in Children of the Corn too, weren't you?
Children of the Corn, yeah. That was that's a later story.
It's scary shit.
It's
Scary
some
shit.
scary shit. God, the story I could tell you. I will. I have later. I promise you. So I graduated high school and I moved to London. I went to college, and then when I finished my stint in college, I moved to Los Angeles. And there's a lot that happened in that journey to get me from Pittsburgh to ultimately to LA, which we can touch later. But I was in LA for 11 days, and right place, right time. I had a full head of hair, and
you were a handsome. You still are. But
you said were. No, you started out.
You called me fat earlier.
No, I didn't say fat. I said fluffy.
You said
fluffy.
I didn't know you had some muscle. I just thought you were fluffy.
I said fluffy. See,
and I said fat. I was fluffy.
But now you're muscular.
I'm still fluffy-ish for me. But
I'm the average height and weight of a fifth grader.
Yeah, a fifth grader, exactly. You and my son are the same size. So
I think we are actually. I think he's actually a little taller.
He has more hair, but anyway, we digress.
We digress.
Yeah.
But so no, I get to LA. I'm there 11 days, and like divine intervention. I don't know, paying my dues, whatever it might have been. And I walk into an audition, and I meet this amazing casting director that says, "You're gonna make it," kind of thing. And on the 11th day kind of scenario, I signed a 5-year deal with NBC to be on, at the time, a brand new show that was finishing up its first season. And I got to be on it for the next 5 years.
That's just crazy to me because you hear all these stories.
Right.
It's never 11 days.
No.
There's people that go to LA in search of this dream, graduate early, sleep on fucking park benches, do all that kind of stuff, and it's so serendipitous how your story happened, and it's not typical of it's not typical of every actor or actress in Hollywood.
I have friends that moved out to LA, give or take around the time that I did, and they are still grinding. And I mean, it's like the movie Rounders, right?
Yeah.
If you're in this, you got to grind, and you've got to be at it forever. And
yeah.
It's Uta Hagen, one of the best acting coaches in the world, says that the day you decide to become a professional actor, give it 7 years. Mm-hmm. And after 7 years, if it hasn't happened, give it 7 more years. It's a life. I mean, it's
the rule of 7.
It is. And so for me, like, when I was a kid, I paid my dues, I guess. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was 5 when I booked my first commercial for a local waterbed company called Waterbed Willies.
Waterbed? I had a waterbed.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Well, so here's the audition process, right? Is my dad takes me downtown Pittsburgh into a warehouse, a lot like this gym, but just nothing but a waterbed in the center of it. And this man says to me, "Son, get on that bed, jump up and down, and say, 'I love Waterbed Willies.'" So I look at my daddy, and then I look at this man, I look back at my daddy, and I said, "Daddy, can I jump on this man's bed?" And he said, "Honey, you do what you got to do." So I get on this bed, I start jumping down, hands behind my back, "I love Waterbed Willies." And it was cheesy. It was the cheesiest thing. I was paid $150 for an hour's worth of work.
Done.
And that's big money.
How old were you?
I was 5.
Oh,
I thought
dude.
$150 was going to buy me an island. And
Yeah,
all
or
kinds
something
of,
cool. You're rich, like,
you know?
yeah.
And then after that, I booked a commercial, a national commercial with a small company called Pepsi.
Oh, I never heard
Yeah,
the underdog.
You're the underdog, right?
Yeah.
And it was with Paul Rodriguez, and it aired during the Super Bowl, and it turned in from 1 national into 5 national commercials by the time I was 12.
That's so fucking cool,
And
man.
then auditioned for Lorenzo's Oil, and in that audition, Kennedy was the casting director on that. And I walk in on that audition, and it's like this, like small town Pittsburgh, but it was like every powerhouse in Hollywood. But I guess naivety and stupidity is kind of key to this industry, because in that room was a guy by the name of Nick Nolte, no clue who he was.
Yeah, I mean, you
Susan
know.
Sarandon, no clue.
Loved her in Bull Durham. A dude.
Jack Nicholson, no
Yep.
idea who he was.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito, no clue who he was. Sir Peter Houston was in there. Bob Hoskins was in there. Tristan O'Tate was in there. Valerie Bertinelli was in there.
Wow.
Little did I know that when I walked in there, I'm auditioning not just for Lorenzo's Oil, but you had Hoffa going on at the same time. You had Citizen Kane going
Yeah.
on. You had Innocent Blood with Valerie, like all these. And I'm auditioning for 5 films at one time. And I got cast in 4 out of the 5. And it was just, I was the right place, the right time. And I'm huge just on the way that we met. Like, I think it's divine intervention. I don't want to say the good Lord. I don't want to say this. I'm just going to say it's divine intervention, right place, right time in that scenario. And I kind of always knew that I wanted to act, because my dad told me that you know, you're going to have to get a 9 to 5 someday. Like that's reality. You're going to have to, I don't want to work. He goes, well, what do you want to be? You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be an Indian chief kind of thing. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to be any one of those. I want to be all of them.
Yeah.
So acting became legalized schizophrenia for me. I was allowed
That's
to be anything I
awesome.
wanted to be.
Dude, let's touch on that real quick. Have you ever been lost in a role? I mean, because there's some things that, you know, Heath Ledger,
Yeah.
you know, after the Joker, he kind of went, you know, it was like he was lost in that role. Has anything like that ever happened to you?
You know, the difference between method acting and non-method acting, you know, there is a fine line between the two of them, and there really is. And I've only had one role where I kind of got lost in it. I did a picture a couple years ago called Todd. It's out on Amazon right now if you'd like to buy it.
I want to.
Yeah, so but
Nice
it's,
plug there.
yeah.
Buy it, Todd.
Buy it on Amazon. Todd. TODD.
Amazon, I want money for
Yes,
this shit.
Yeah. So do I. Amazon, please. I'm looking.
To be
for
fair, we kind of need to be paid.
We'll
here.
go 60-40.
Yeah, fine.
You know, fine.
60, 40, throw me some
Whatevs.
miles, whatever.
70-30 at this point. But no, I was playing a psychiatrist that was dealing with some patients that were dealing with some stuff.
Okay.
My marriage at home was kind of going south, and I've been down that road of a marriage going south. I've been there, right? And I've got 2 daughters with my ex-wife, and then now my current situation. We have a blended 5 children family, which we can chat about.
Beautiful.
But in this role, it was like something failing in any man or female's life is something that even though it might be pretend because it's scripted, and if you've ever failed at something, you get spiraled back into that, and you start asking, questioning, what did I do?
It triggers something, right?
And that triggered for me, and it wasn't a dark place, but it was one of those times I'm just like, I remember why I was there, and I remember how I got to where I'm at now because of those.
Yeah.
But I've always been able to light switch my acting. I've always been able to go into the room, do my job, and shut the light switch off and walk out. I mean, I'm that one in between takes that I cut up, you know, whereas everyone else is like, I'm gonna stay focused on my character.
Dude, it's funny,
not
that's a
rocket
gift,
science.
right? That's a gift. You know, I think for the audience that is watching and listening, when you're in your element and you're doing something that you are a professional at, you're an expert, it's easier to have that light switch mentality. You know, baseball coaches would always tell you that, hey, the light switch, there's no such thing. You can't just turn it on. I disagree with that. Like, because for me with this, like this whole morning, and I'm always really real with my guests and my listeners and all that kind of stuff, and my team. Like, I was off. I told Kevin Porter today, I'm like, dude, I'm off mentally. Like, I am not good this morning. But as soon as the cameras are on, I'm fine because it's that thing. Like, this is our fucking wheelhouse, man. This is what we love to do. So I can really appreciate that about you, because in between, I'm not focused either. Like, I'm focused now on this conversation. And what people don't understand about actors and interviewers is simply this: it is not freaking easy. You know, like, even though this looks easy and it's fun and everybody's like, wow, this is a great conversation, it's energy still. And when you deal with multiple interviews per day, you have different energies. And so you have different, whatever it is, and chakras or whatever that get kind of like, I'm like, okay, I'm a little off now, but dude, I'm in the weeds, but I just appreciate that about you, man.
And we have to look at my perspective, I guess, is that when you're in your chosen craft, whatever it may be, like, why are you in that craft? Are you in it because you have to be in it? Or are you in it because you love it?
See, this is the lesson this is the lesson. Yeah. Dive into that.
Yeah, because to me, on the have to, you're in the wrong place.
Dude.
If you're in it because you're like, what your main objective is, as a school teacher now, for me, my objective is X, Y, and Z. As an actor, my objective was A, B, and C. But for me, it came down to, it was to make it was want, desire, and need. And I had the talent, because that's 2% of the equation.
Yeah.
But it's the 98% of want, desire, and need. How far are you willing to go to get it? What are you doing? What are you willing to do to keep it? And what are you willing to sacrifice to have it?
Yeah.
And those are the things. And we've all been in that situation where you have to make that decision. If I go left, will I be right? If I go right, will I be left? Like, it's that kind of, you get to that crossroad. Yeah. And for me, I was willing to sacrifice everything for the exception of who I was. I was raised by a single father with 2 sisters. My mom and my dad divorced when I was 3, and my mom she went one direction, and my dad said, I'm not going another direction. These are my children. My dad owned radio stations around the United States, was a sex symbol of his time.
I feel like I'm that now, though.
You are. I think so. I mean, you're definitely, you're a symbol.
I feel the energy. It's fine. It's okay. No judgment.
But he, my dad was one of these ones that, and I'll cry talking about my dad. My dad just turned 80 in July, and he's like, you've got God. Then you have my dad, like that. And sometimes awesome, there's sometimes that I think my dad might even surpass some of
You're
that.
lucky because a lot of kids
don't have that.
I don't.
Yeah, and I didn't have a mom, and it's like, growing up it was, poor Aaron, he didn't have a mommy. No, I did. I had my dad.
Yeah.
Because my dad was my mom.
Yeah.
My dad was homeroom mother. My dad was Girl Scout leader, Cub Scout leader. My dad was my wrestling coach.
That's
my dad
so
was
cool.
everything.
Yeah.
Right? But most of all, my dad was the voice of reason. My dad was the one that said, when you make that choice, son, understand that once that choice is made, you can't go back on that choice. You can never go back and change time and say, I wish I wouldn't have. You can repent for it. You can change, the outcome maybe and ask for forgiveness kind of scenario, but make your choices clear and present. So that want, desire, and need for me was like, my biggest want, desire, and need in life was to make my daddy proud. And to make a dad proud, that's hard sometimes because it's like, my dad was everything. My dad gave up his career for his 3 children. So it was like, I was on that, and still now, I'm constantly on that strive to always, not that I need that attaboy from my dad, but I want to know that when
it's
my
nice
dad,
to have, man.
It is. It really is.
It's nice to have, like I'm listening to this, and it's like the lesson to me is knowing exactly what your process needs to be when you're working for something that you want. It can't be, I have to get up in the morning and do this. It's got to be like you jump out of bed and you're excited to do it. Even on my worst day, I'm like, I can say like, I don't want to go and do it. But deep down, I'm like, it's going to be fun, right? We're going to dive in. But like, there's a lot of people out there that are listening right now and watching that have these amazing dreams, these aspirations to do everything that they want in life, but yet they lack the discipline in order to go and chase that, right? And what you're displaying is that right there.
I think within that discipline also, there's also the other side of it, which is fear.
Yeah.
Right, and
scary.
Fear never got you anywhere.
No.
It really didn't, right?
No.
Because what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
You're afraid of the unknown.
Yep.
Well, so the question comes into play. It's like any unasked question, the answer is always going to be no. So if you don't do it, you're never going to get it. The worst that's going to happen is it's going to fail.
Yeah.
But what is failure? I mean, and if you really want to dive deep into what is failure is how you feel about it.
Failure is necessary, dude. Like I think there should be a reframing on failure. But real quick, pardon me, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. You're going to hear from one of our sponsors. Take it in, enjoy it, and we'll be back with Mr. Aaron Jackson here in a second. So I've tried a lot of protein. What I've always found is all the flavors, you can taste artificial flavoring in them. With raw, it's exactly that. I don't taste that. It's a clean protein source. Tastes great, and I'm not putting a lot of things in my body that aren't good for you. The biggest thing that I will say that I love about raw nutrition and bum energy is they're all natural ingredients and they're third-party tested. So what that means is an actual lab test is to make sure what's in the product is actually what is stated on the label. And then you'll see on the website of Raw Nutrition that it is signed off on. So there's no banned substances in these products. Athletes can use them safely and not get tested and popped for a failed drug test for performance enhancing, ingredients. It's completely safe, guilt-free, baby. And we're back at the Omni Performance Institute in Fort Myers. Thank you for hanging on. We got the back half of the interview with Mr. Aaron Jackson coming up, dude. Dude, you've done some pretty funny things though. Like, we've talked about some serious stuff about how great your father is and the impact that he's had and still has on your life. What it takes to do something, that you really want to do, the sacrifice, the process, etc. Let's talk about some funny stuff.
All right.
So, fuck, dude, you were in the courtroom for the OJ trial? Like, what? Why? Like, okay. Can we?
So
okay.
I'm living in LA, and you got the 405, the 101, the 10, and all that stuff, and you're watching the news, and this white Bronco's going down the road, and it's like, I knew Kato Kalin.
Okay.
I hung out with Kato Kalin.
Okay.
Like, this was a thing. Like, this was a regular. We used to hang out at the Viper Room. We'd hang out at the Roxbury. So I knew Kato, but I didn't know Kato on that side. I didn't know he worked for OJ. I just knew who Kato Kalin was. And so when the whole OJ Simpson trial went down, I decided, I'm like, I want to see this. I want to see this live. So I go to the courthouse, right? Now, backstory on Aaron. I'm a concealed weapons permit holder, and I carried a gun with me pretty much on a regular basis. Did you know you're not allowed to carry one in through security at a courthouse?
Yeah, I mean, it's common sense, dude. They might think you're there to shoot somebody.
I wasn't very common that day.
You're not as smart as...
I didn't.
Yeah, okay.
My elevator didn't go all the way up there.
It's like going through security at an airport. You can't do that.
I didn't even think about it, to be fair with you. It was in my back, and I walked in there, and I got through the security, and they're like, and I was like, and they were cool about it.
I'm here for the OJ trial.
However, I did get frisked. So I was one of those ones that going through like TSA and all those things that like when they're gonna wand you and do all that stuff, every time they came down my backside, I was always go, whoo!
Yeah,
thank
I love
you,
it.
kind of thing. And then this particular one was not
good.
Not good. I got brought into a room. I was taken into like a private room, wondering, why are you here? Why are you making a mockery? What is this? Are you making jokes? So eventually got in there, went in there for 2 days to be able to see that. And I wasn't there at the good stuff. I wish I could have been, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit.
You weren't there for the glove?
I wish I could have been there for that.
Damn.
I was there on a testimony of a neighbor.
Okay.
And then, but OJ was in the courtroom, and it was very cool.
It's crazy.
It was very cool to see that.
That was a crazy experience, man.
It was neat. It really was.
Because, it's funny you talk about the airport stuff. Like, I do my best, Jackie, dude, my wife, like, God love her. And, I try my best to say the most off-the-wall shit. I don't like airport security. I'm used to traveling now, so I'm a little more, my anxiety, instead of like a 7 to 10, it's like a 3 to 5 now. Right. I'm going the right direction, you know? But whenever, I used to get mad when they would like pull me to the side, and then now I'm just like, oh, you're gonna frisk me? Thank you. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is my favorite part.
How much?
It's my favorite. How much do I owe you? Like, this is great. Don't miss anything.
What I hate about TSA though, it's like you're not cops.
No.
Like, I understand that you work for our government, and everything, but you're searching for. I have too much hairspray.
Yeah.
Wait, my liquid deodorant. You're not allowed. And they take that a little too.
You have too much.
I know why.
They look at it like, dude, why do you have hair gel?
Yeah, it's like, right? I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
But no, so
That's a cool story.
My traveling, I used to travel like it was a regular thing. I was on the road, for weeks on end, and then come home for a day, go back out on the road for weeks on end. And you kind of forget what's in your bag sometimes, and it was after 9/11, like everything changed on what you could and couldn't travel with now. I mean, and the amount of water and it's like
amount of water.
Yeah, like how much water?
Like it's water.
It's water. Like
you want to smell it?
You want to drink it?
I never told you about the time where I guess there was a pocket knife in my bag.
Oh yeah.
I was going through Fort Myers, RSW, and I had my wife's pink bag.
Yep.
Because that was the thing. I would carry the pink bag all the time.
I mean, of course you would.
Standard.
Why wouldn't you?
It's the new black. Pink is the new black. So I'm going through security and I'm by myself. And all of a sudden they pull the bag aside. I'm like, what's going on? What's in that bag? I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm thinking, I don't do drugs, so that's not in there. But then I'm thinking someone framed me. You know, I'm thinking someone dropped some stuff in there, and there's a fucking pocket knife. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. No, throw it away.
Yep.
Like, it's an old fishing knife. I don't know what it's doing there. I was mortified. I thought for certain I was going to jail.
Jail for it, yeah.
It was like a year ago.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 years ago.
It's real.
It's real. And dude, now it's just the funniest story ever because it's like, you know.
Yeah. Well, I have another one
Oh.
for you. This one's a TSA, a good one.
Okay.
I won't name the airports because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Okay.
So again, my concealed weapons permit, and I had a 38. It was in my backpack. Tucked at the bottom, didn't even realize it. All the way through security. I get to New York City. My wife, we're unpacking, and I go into my backpack, and I reach down. I have a 38.
Oh my God.
In the city of New York, which is illegal. We all know handguns are illegal in the city of New York. So I call a friend of mine, and I say, hey, what do I do about this? Like, what do I do? Like, you can't ship it.
No.
You can't, because I don't have a license to ship, and I don't have a place to send it to. And then it turned out that, so I called a police officer friend of mine, and he goes, oh, I'm gonna have to let you talk to an NY guy. You know, you gotta talk to him in New York City. I'm like, okay. So I call this gentleman, he goes, where are you located? I'm like, is that really important right now?
Let's not talk about that.
You're gonna keep me out of this for a second.
Yeah.
And I said, what do I do with it? And he goes, well, one of two things. He goes, A, you can bring it down to the station, relinquish it, surrender it. There's gonna be a couple of questions. We're gonna fingerprint you and everything else. You're already in the database, so you're clear, obviously. And I said, well, how long is it gonna take? It was 3 to 4 hours. I'm like, ooh, I got Michael McIntyre tickets tonight. I really want to see this comedian.
Can I just put it in the garbage can right here in the hotel room?
Well, better than that. He goes, option 2, throw it in the Hudson. I'm sorry, excuse me, what? Throw it in the Hudson? So I'm not very proud to tell you that I broke down a 38 down to 5 pieces.
And you threw it in the Hudson River.
I threw it in a lot of garbage cans. But it also happened to be the weekends that the UN was going on. So there was security everywhere. So my wife was kind of like watching for me, and I'm just like,
throw it in Shake Shack bags.
Dude, I did.
Go get a bunch of Shake Shack.
You know, in the hotel where they have like the linen bags and all that stuff. I'm wrapping the barrel up in that. I took my deodorant. I threw the deodorant out, but I had the whole little thing. I put the clip inside there, put the lid back.
Mess,
dude,
bro.
it was bad. It was awful.
You're a full-on mess.
And he told me throw it in the Hudson. I'm like, dude, a cop is telling me to throw this in the Hudson.
Well, I mean, you know, cops, sometimes.
They're crooked. I'm kidding.
I mean,
kidding. I have a lot of cop friends.
Joking.
Joking.
A lot of respect for law enforcement.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Clearly do. No, all joking aside.
Yeah.
Yes. Love
First
you guys. Thank
responders
you.
are amazing.
Incredible. We're just joking.
Yeah.
Another funny story.
Okay.
So tell me about the time you got bitch slapped by Jimmy Fallon.
Dude, you're like digging shit. Like
that's my job. It's my job.
Like Google, let's see.
It's my job.
How did Aaron get screwed over? So yeah, I got not directly bitch slapped, but Jimmy Fallon's a huge fan of Dreams, and he was like, they had done a little bit on Saturday Night Live, and I can't remember something the rapper. What's his name? Something the rapper. He goes by blank the rapper.
The rapper. There's a ton of.
No, but like his name is like blank the rapper. Oh shit. At any rate,
what era?
Like recent, like within the last 4 years.
I don't know.
Not Eddie the rapper, but it's like that's a part of his title.
Okay.
You can put it in the subtitles once I'll look it up. But he had brought on a picture of California Dreams on Saturday Night Live. Like, and it was like, so it was the cast picture of us. And I guess Jimmy had commented on that on his show. Like, watching SNL, I love California Dreams, would love to have them on the show. So he reaches out to the publicist of the show, and he's like, I want season, 1. Well, I'm fucking season 1.
Wow.
So it was Michael, it was Kelly, it was William, it was Heidi, it was Brent, and it was Jay. And I'm just like,
you got left out of
I got
Fallon.
left out. So it was like seriously, there's only 2 more of us. You could have just said, hey, we're just gonna bring on the whole cast.
Jimmy, what happened to inclusion?
I know, right, Jimmy? Like seriously.
Seriously.
And then I came to your office the other, like when I was in New York, and you didn't invite me in.
Can you believe it?
Done with you.
Yeah.
Done. No.
Well,
I mean, I'm verified. You're verified. We can look each other up. Come on.
He's gonna. We'll get this. We'll get it. We'll get it. Yeah, we're gonna send it to him. So, but no, dude, like that's a funny story, and like I do digging, right? That's my job, and what's great is like all good things, all good things from you.
Proud of my past.
Yeah,
very proud.
Proud of your past. I'm more proud of what you're doing now. So kind of coming towards the end of the interview, I want you to talk about what you're doing now. You're at a prep school here. I don't want to say the name,
of course.
because I don't want people, stalking. I stalk you anyway.
And I stalk you. So,
Yeah. So, but like, you're giving back to the kids, man. And so, talk to us about that journey and maybe how it was hard to get into that after you've been, a Hollywood guy.
It was weird. Putting my 2 and then my wife's 3 through, a prep school. And my second daughter was an actor, and she was in the program, and the predecessor in my program left one year. So the headmaster kind of reached out to me and says, hey, I know you're an actor. Hey, I know you'd like to be a part of, maybe come in and teach for a year, be one and done kind of thing. And I was traveling a lot. I was still making movies. I was directing pictures. I was kind of, but my daughter had asked me years prior to that. She's like, Daddy, can you not travel as much? I miss you. And I was traveling. And as a dad, that it's like, when your kids talk, you listen. Like that was it.
That's
so
it.
I was teaching a lot of private acting classes here locally. I was working with a lot of the local theaters, and then this jam came forward. And I had been teaching, but not teaching.
Yeah.
And so this was the year of COVID. So I started at the beginning of COVID, and my headmaster just kind of said, hey, you know the school, you love the school, you put your kids through the school. I think this would be a good home for you. And I'm like, I don't. Teacher, like,
I don't know,
bro.
You're
talking like time clock. You're talking
you're telling me like I have contract hours. I can't leave until I kind of like to do what I want.
And I'm a jeans and t-shirt, baseball hat kind of guy.
That's what I do.
And he agreed to all that. And he was like, we're jeans, we're t-shirt, we're baseball hat. Like, you're an expert in your field kind of thing. I mean, I have a full sleeve of a tattoo. Like, this is me. And I don't know that I fit into that box. And he goes, the box is what you make it kind of scenario.
I love it.
And so I came on for a year. And when it started, like, beginning of the year was awesome, and then this small little thing called COVID happened.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
It's a big deal,
small,
right? Yeah. And so we go online, and everybody in the school was kind of freaking out at, like, we have to go online and do this. For me, it was easy. It was because I'd been online now for, 7 years, 8 years doing FaceTime and Skype and all these teaching acting classes. So for me to go online was easy peasy, nice and squeezy. And then that next year, like, it was July, and the contracts come back out, and it was like, hey, we'd like to offer you another contract.
And here you are.
And here I am now.
2024, man.
Yeah, and I mean, my program, I teach theater, I teach film studies, and then I teach musical theater as well.
You got some good shows coming up.
I've got a fantastic season.
You got some Outsiders coming?
Outsiders, 6, Shrek, the 11th.
Shrek?
Yeah, we're doing Shrek
Nice.
in the spring. I do about 19 shows a year on campus.
That's crazy.
Between one-offs and full
So you did Mean Girls.
Mean Girls
that was
last
awesome.
year.
We went to that. That was amazing.
Thank you. We did year before that was Elf, and I mean it's creating theater and creating art. I mean, art is subjective, and I try to push boundaries and give my students opportunities to do stuff that they're not normally going to get or in any other situation ever have the opportunity to do. So 2 years back we did The Diary of Anne Frank, a story that needs to be told.
Yes.
And I did it in complete black and white. And when I say complete black and white, I'm talking black and white makeup. All lighting was done in just very hue tones.
Yeah.
My set was black and white, all, like down to the stitching of the clothing. There was no color in anything, for the exception of the Star of David's, the diary itself, and then the swastikas. And
what needed to be highlighted? Wow.
That's the story when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's the Jewish, it's the reason, the journal, the diary, and then what happens in the end.
Incredible.
And I try to push the boundaries that way. We did the year of COVID. When we came back, we did Bang Bang You're Dead, which is a school shooter show, which is, and anytime you're doing a school shooter show in a school,
it hits
hard.
It hits hard.
And
man.
but we were dealing with 6 foot separation, and my headmaster was like, "How are we going to recreate theater? How are you going to do this?" I'm like, "If there's a will, there's a way." Kind of trust the process.
Yeah.
So I built a glass box, a plexiglass box, to allow my actor to be inside that box, so he didn't have to have a mask on.
So cool.
And then we did shows in the round last year. We did 3/4 thrust. I was doing 3-act plays, and so my kids are getting these experiences. So you ask, like, what was that transition like? I was a Hollywood, and it sounds arrogant, and I don't mean it that way. I was on a network television show. I was on one of the biggest television shows of its time. I was on the cover of every teenage magazine, from Big Bopper, to YM, Super Team, Teen Machine, Tiger Beat, all of those.
Yeah.
And now I'm a school teacher, and do I make the money I made in Hollywood? No. Is it about the money? And if you're in whatever industry you've chosen to be in, if you're in it for the money,
you're never going to get
it for the wrong reasons, because it's not about that. Like, I make enough money to live the lifestyle in which I've grown accustomed to. And your lifestyle can be Maseratis and Ferraris, but you gotta have that coin to be able to back that up, you know. Yeah. And for me, it was like, it's not about the money, it's about the quality of the life in which I'm being able to do. So being able to teach, I teach high school. I get to work with your kids. I get to work with, you know, our community's kids. And the funny thing is they trust me. And I don't mean that like they shouldn't, but I mean like they trust me to raise their children. Yeah. And when you think about an educator, that's what we do. Your child spends more time with me than they do with you.
Dude, every parent just wants their child, and the parents that are watching and listening can verify this, because all we want is for our children to be in the presence of an expert, and you are truly the expert in your field in teaching these young kids. Dude, I thank you so much. I know you got to get to school.
I do.
This is probably one of a few things we'll do together. I'm just super grateful to have you here today.
No, I'm grateful.
Dude, I love you to death, man.
You
Thank
well,
you, bro.
brother.
Appreciate
Thank you, guys.
Peace out, guys. See you next time.
Look at that. That's even a good slap right there.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Look at that.
So I've tried a lot of protein. You know, what I've always found is all the flavors, you can taste artificial flavoring in them. With raw, it's exactly that. I don't taste that. It's a clean protein source. Tastes great, and I'm not putting a lot of things in my body that aren't good for you. The biggest thing that I will say that I love about raw nutrition and Bum Energy is they're all natural ingredients and they're third-party tested. So what that means is an actual lab test is to make sure what's in the product is actually what is stated on the label. And then you'll see on the website of Raw Nutrition that it is signed off on. So there's no banned substances in these products. Athletes can use them safely and not get tested and popped for a failed drug test for performance enhancing, you know, ingredients. It's completely safe, guilt-free, baby.
French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time, I confirmed it. A whole society determined.